how to stay on schedule uh, and how to keep projects moving along. This is maybe one of your most important overall topics to know about. So, every job should have a projection and a forecast schedule. And you can see right here, we got multiple properties here. Everybody has to have one of these. New construction is probably the easiest one to do. Remodels and renders, they're a little bit more difficult. But we're going to go with the new construction one today. So you can see right here, that's today's date. Here's how many days we have been under construction, and we are currently on this step right here. You can see this should take 3 days. Once it's moving along, next step should take 5 days, and these things will all auto update. So you should be keeping an eye on this. If you see any red, anything that goes red, means you're late. So don't let anything. It's conditional formatting, so don't let it get red. Uh, check your boxes off as you're doing them. This is your exterior. So about the time you get the framing up, you're about ready to start getting your brick on, your siding on, and then you're ready for your soffits. And then when you get down to this insulation part here, you're getting real close to being ready for pouring your driveway. We want to make sure we've got the sheetrock already delivered before we pour a driveway. But keep an eye on this one as well. This is your materials. Everything's got a lead time. It could take 6 weeks to get something at your job site. So this is designed to correspond and sync with this. So you order things on time. We don't want to have job materials at the job site too soon. They'll get stolen or broken or damaged. We want to have everything right on time. And then this one changes quite a bit, but it's a decent average on how to do things. This is when you start talking to your subcontractors, letting them know you got work coming up for them. So you got 3 rows here, and then the fourth is your exterior. Um, the outside stuff, it just complicated it, so you can just read that part. So keep all 3 of these working in a timely manner on every job site, because this is just for one job site. Uh, Maybe every day, maybe every few days, you should be circulating through this to make sure that this job, you see, we got some red stuff here. This stuff, as an example, will need to be done. As soon as it gets checked off, it goes clear again. So to make a new one of these, right click, duplicate, and then you'll need to go through here and whichever one you're on, you'll update one of the dates. Make sure you click on it. So like this one, you can edit this cell, which is C4. You can update it because you see it's just a you just press Command and colon and it'll auto put the date there. But this one, it's a formulated cell, so you don't want to overwrite that. You can call and ask me, and I can teach you how to do that. But we do need to keep this up to date on everything. We've already got our materials right here, so you shouldn't be spending much time looking for materials. Go in here, press Command F. You're gonna get the search, type in fans, and boom. We got 2 options for fans. Click down. These fans. These fans have worked in the past. Let's use them again. Of course, make sure your color matches and do the basic stuff. But this is going to help you at least 80% of the time for keeping people on the job site, getting them all the schedule, letting them know when to be there. We've got the contacts list. You can go on here, you can read their notes. There's a tutorial on each one of these specifically, but this is just how to stay on schedule. Keep these people going. Get somebody else lined up. Somebody stands you up, doesn't show up. You go out there and find somebody else, fill your schedule, fill the pipeline. And of course, we want to make sure these people are getting the job as much as we can if we're going to contact them and get them to do a free quote. But there's no reason we don't wait for anybody. If somebody gets left behind, this is a freight train. They get left behind, somebody else is getting filled in. Maybe we'll call them on the next job. Maybe we won't. Uh, people need to keep up. There's you know 1 month could be $1,500. So roughly that's about $400 a week. So just having a job site sit still, it goes crazy on how fast your overruns. can happen. We don't do that. We get somebody else in there, and we have checklists as well. So uh, you shouldn't. Most of these checklists, unless you're doing remodel or a rental property, most of these checklists are already written, and even a lot of like standard stuff such as a yard cleanup or exterior cleanup on a rental property. That's all you do. You go in here and you've already got your spreadsheet made. I mean, you can go in here, right click, make a copy, and follow the format for how to do this stuff. But all this stuff is already done. You just got to follow the checklist, and you're going to be pretty well on schedule. All these checklists, they do need a date on them, so you should be referencing your dates. Seeing as this, uh, every project less than 6 months. If something gets over 6 months, it's not going to be good because customers they want to live in their house. I mean, if you were getting your house done, you wouldn't want to have construction people in your house for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. You want them done. You want them in and out overnight. The faster we can move these projects, the less we can charge on a job. The more customers we have, the more money you end up making overall. Every single day, you need to be checking your projections, your forecast, your checklist. Uh, Check the security cameras. If somebody says they're going to be there, look at the camera first and see if they're there. If they're not there, ask them why they're not there. Find out when they're going to be there. When you're kind of doing your interview with these people and seeing if they're going to get the job, ask them if they have a 4-man, a 5-man, 6-man crew. If they say they got a 4-man crew and they show up and there's only 3 people there, figure out what's going on. Tell them we talked about 4 people, not 3. If they say they're going to be there at 7 and they show up at 7:15, ask them why they're not there. And then make sure they're working full days with a full crew. And if they're doing that, we're not going to rush them. If they've got everybody there on schedule and working a full day, leave them alone. Just let them work. If they said it was going to take 2 weeks and it took 6 weeks, but they did good work, that's we'll let it pass this time. But we'll dock it in their contacts list and put that they were a little slower than they thought, but they did good work. We'll take that. I don't think there's really any reason somebody should be behind schedule if they've got a full crew and they're working every day. If the weather's bad on one job, so say it's raining and you're not able to put your footers in, move your focus over on a job that's already got the roof on and start doing all the stuff inside. Because in theory, once you get your roof on the house or even just framed up and just the wood on the roof is up there, you can at least go ahead and put in the plumbing. So you're looking at your projections, you're always thinking about what can be done simultaneously. How many things can we get moving at one time? We've got the checklist and schedule, so it's going to help the quality control. You're going to be over there checking. You've got the camera, and so that's how you keep jobs on schedule. Look at things that have longer lead times. Make sure you got it. Every time you're stopping at a job site, you should be checking to make sure that they've got enough material, that they've got enough material for tomorrow. And check it really close because when you're hot and sweating and dehydrated, it's hard to stay focused. It's hard to think. That's why we've got somebody on this job that's thinking for you. Um, you would be the one thinking. But and when it's cold and when you're tired or hungry, it's harder to think. So somebody has to be thinking. These checklists do a really good job. We should always have a checklist at a job site that's right there for everybody to read. It needs to be in Spanish if they only speak Spanish. I mean, really, most of these our checklists are already translated, so you got English and you got Spanish on there, so there's no question, even if you only speak one of the languages. Always find something. I don't want any job sitting still, so find something to work on. Look through every checklist and find something that you can get started and start working on it. Like whenever your insulation is in, you should already have your dimensions calculated. So you already know you need 200 sheets of sheetrock, and they should already be on order if we've got insulation in there. It should be just about to get delivered. Sheetrock, that's a fragile one. There's no returns on it, and it can get wet. So we do need to make use appropriate judgment to make sure it's getting into a dry location. Uh, but like the roof, before the framer even starts, you should have a materials list. And those materials lists, sometimes they can take a week to create, especially if you're talking with Lumber One or Ride Out Lumber and you're doing it via email. They Yeah, they send you something, you respond back, they wait a day, they send something back, they wait 4 days. Oh, I forgot about it, is what they say. So really, we need a lot of phone calls going on whenever we're getting these orders created to make sure everything is on order. A lot of these lists, they're already made. We try to have a checklist to give people, especially a framer. I've got a checklist they can just write how many 2x4s they want, how many OSB boards, how many radiant OSB boards with the aluminum on the middle, on the bottom that goes on the ceiling. We try to simplify this stuff to take off the thinking every time. We try to duplicate, replicate, do similar things every time to keep things easier. Uh, you should always know about how many more days you got on the job site. Ask your crew, ask uh, ask yourself, at this pace, if these guys are lying to me, look at the current pace, and then how long do you think this stuff is going to take? And that's going to help at least get your next crew lined up for whatever is going on next. If you're doing certain things repetitively, such as you're driving to Nicole and then you're driving to Platte and you're driving back home, uh, you should know how many miles that round trip is, and then it's just tally mark it. And you should probably just make a spreadsheet or just a handwritten sheet and just put a tally mark every time you do that route. And then if it's 30 miles, just one tally. And you know you've done that trip 6 times in the last 2 weeks. That's 6 tallies times 30. You already know your mileage for reimbursement. All these trips, every property we got, you should just know how many miles it is. And then if you're running a similar circuit, like right now, we're running Nicole to Platte to Norfolk, then coming back. And sometimes we're going, just Nicole and back. We should always know. Make sure the job site stays clean. If it's not clean, tell the guys to stop, clean up the mess. I don't want a mess on any of these job sites. If somebody's got a mess, it automatically tells me their brain's a mess. So get them to clean up their job site. Maybe help them out. Maybe sweep the floor for them. Maybe put some of the trash in. Maybe do something small you can do. But that job site needs to be clean. Sheetrock and trim guys, they can make a real big mess. So can plumbers, and we're not going to do that. So make sure these job sites are staying clean. When they're clean, even if it takes an hour to clean up, they're going to save 10 hours and a lot of heartache because they're working in a clean environment. When you're at the job site, I mean, the bottom line is we've got to keep people healthy, hydrated, and safe on these job sites. If somebody's got a sick kid, figure out why the kid's sick. See if you can figure out a remedy to get the kid healthy so they can get back to work. If somebody's dehydrated, they're probably going to be sick the next day. So we've got to, if somebody's sick, they're not working. So the job site's stalled. And so figure out why people aren't healthy. Like the guy who broke his ankle, it put us behind schedule. He was supposed to start, and the night before he broke his ankle, and now we don't have a guy. So we need to make sure all our job sites are safe, and we need to make sure people have a healthy body weight. Make sure they're drinking a lot of water. Encourage them to do good things. I don't want to see a bunch of monsters, and I don't want to see a bunch of beer, and I don't want to see a bunch of food that comes in a wrapper. They need to be eating healthy food, drinking lots of water, and that's going to make you stay on schedule because you're not going to have as many sick days with your crews. When it comes to checking things such as an eviction, you can jump online and check and see what's currently being filed on the eviction. You can see that process. If it's an Amazon order, sometimes I mean, you can jump on, you can see, you can watch the tracking of it. There's lots of things that you can check and see online. And by checking online, it doesn't take the 20 minutes it takes to call a person. I mean, I like to keep my phone calls really short, like less than a minute when I'm talking to somebody. But some of these people, they like to chit chat. Chit chat takes all your day away. So we've got to try to check your email, do something where you're not distracted. Like a text, it can be faster than a phone call, because if you're doing a phone call, somebody's got to stop what they're doing, pick up the phone and answer. If you do a text message, they can wait 10 minutes after they're done with what they're doing, and then they can respond back. Same with an email. So their phone call might be more direct, more fast. So there is a time to use it if it's not something that's urgent. But we shouldn't have just a ton of deathly urgent things going on. We should be more prepared and planned so that things are happening in advance, but like right on time. Because if something goes, if if you're showing up to something early, all you're doing is still in time from something that you left early. So, and if you're showing up late, you're adding time to the thing you left, but you're still in time from the next event. And it's also it's disrespectful. If you told somebody 5 o'clock and you show up at 5:15, okay, so your time's worth more than my time. What's going on here, guys? Uh, that's why whenever we're meeting with contractors, 30 minutes before, hey, I'm on my way, is what you text them. You sit at the house until you get a response back saying they're they're on their way too. Because if not, they'll just not respond for an hour. Nobody in this company is going to get away with that for long. People do try it. Uh, we don't allow. Always have a daily schedule on what you're going to be doing. Like, I mean, this is right there. I got a handwritten schedule. If it's handwritten, it means it's just for me. If it's typed, it means other people are going to look at it. But I always have just a schedule, even if it's just a pencil and a really rough thing. Just get something off, get whatever you're thinking on paper, and you watch how fast you can solve problems, how fast you can be effective and efficient. So, watch the tutorials that I've made. Watch those, and you know, they're not very long. Usually, they're less than 20 minutes. So, by you wa- reading the directions is basically what you're doing. You're watching it, and by doing that, you're going to find out how fast, what the fastest way is to do this stuff. That's how these tutorials are designed. They're designed to show you the most efficient way to get things done and save you all the heartache of having to figure out how to do stuff. Every day a rental property is stalled. It's $50 a day. Even if somebody's working, it's $50 a day in 10 minutes revenue. Every week's about 500 bucks. And on a new construction job site where there's a mortgage of like, 300 or 400, 500,000, I mean, that number can get up to $2,000 a month. So that's, I don't know, it's a lot. I mean, if it's $3,000, that'd be $100 a day that property sits. And especially like for rental equipment, that's that some of that equipment that's being rented, that's those $500 a day. Uh, I mean, it can get really expensive just by inefficiencies. So we got to keep everything moving and everything working and have a plan and stick to the plan. I know at times it feels like maybe we could vary it, get away from the current plan. But the thing is, when that plan was written, about 17 variables were thought about, because that's about how many things one system affects. It can affect 17 other things. So if you change one thing, it might make steps 4, 5, and 6 way harder to do. So that's why we stick to the plan. Now, if something's not right or it doesn't make sense at all, and you've done it 2 or 3 times, let me know, and we'll find out a better way to do it. And when you're doing this work, you need to be the best. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't be the best at it. If you're the scheduler, be the best scheduler. I mean, if you're shining somebody's shoes, be the best shoe shiner. be the best at whatever you do, and you watch how your happiness just goes up whenever you're actually trying to do stuff, whenever you're engaged. Yeah, because I mean, it's you. This is your masterpiece, and by you being the best at it, watch your happiness and overall contentment just go through the roof. We always need to be thinking about what we're doing. Like if we got a whole bunch of computer work that needs to happen, we need to do all the computer work one day. And then if we got a whole bunch of trips, we need to do all the trips in one day. If we got a lot of checklists that need to be written, they all need to be written at one time. And by doing that, you're going to have similar tasks all put together, and it's going to be the most efficient way to do it. It's called batching. We try to put similar tasks together. All your emails need to get sent at the same time. And for the most part, that's how the stuff goes. When you're doing a trip and you got 6 stops, jump on Google Maps, enter in the addresses, and it's going to tell you the most efficient route. That's going to take you about 10 minutes to do it. And you notice how just changing one thing on there saves you 30 minutes in your route, not to mention your gas cost. Minimize your distractions. So I, I don't like working with the TV on. I don't like music on. If it's instrumental, I'll use instrumental music, but we don't need to have any like lyrics. We don't need to have words on. Your brain's trying to process that, and it's trying to process this, and it's trying to process that. Whenever you focus that brain in, you're going to be a lot better. Multitasking, that is something that was developed in the 90s for computers to do. Computers can multitask. Computers can have a YouTube going and they can have a spreadsheet going. And that's a computer term. That's not for humans. Humans, one task. One task is all you need to be focusing on at a time. So one task and laser focus and watch how it gets done so much faster than if you try to spread it out over a period of time. Like I mean, we might take a big like a house. I mean, that's a big project. We can't do the whole house at one time. So that's why we do the foundation and then we do the framing. I mean, we can break big tasks into small things, but we focus, laser focus on the one thing we're doing. That's all we're talking about right then and there. Notifications. Sometimes you need to turn the notifications off on your cell phone. Like I mean, my cell phone, the thing doesn't even ring. Whenever I get to it, I look at it and I see. And then I call people back. Whenever I do it, normally they're not going more than 15 minutes without me answering. But like text messages, I don't even have the notifications on. When I check my cell phone, I'll get back to you. But that helps get a lot of tasks done. On the computer and the desk, I have that stuff clean. It's all clean. It's all spotless. It's just a very simple. You got your notebook.